This was the only point, not even of criticism, but the only point of feedback that I gave back to NYU was there's an insane, and I like to say it because I can say it, because
Right.
I've been in many festivals, but there was so much pressure and attention put on the filmmakers that go to festivals, as that's the only route.
Yeah.
And that is the only outcome possible if you want to have a career. I love to go back to everyone to say, I've been in 3 of the 5, 6 top festivals in the world with
Yep.
my films. Even I won Best Short in one of them, and it doesn't matter.
Good day, filmmaker Joecar Hanna. Joecar, how are you on this fine December morning?
I am great. It's cold as hell. We're here in New York, but we're holding up. It's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Your films, I can't get away from the word masterpiece because I really felt that way when watching them. There was like something I've never seen before. And I watched a lot of short films and feature films. I'm like, holy shit, this is incredible. And it must be a little so the films have premiered at some of the top film festivals in the world, but they aren't available for streaming now. So I feel a little bit like a jerk to be like, holy shit, there's these amazing films. You can't see them. Is that something that you experience? Like you want to put them out in the world, but the system for a lot of different reasons prevents you from doing that?
I think when you start the premiere of a film and you try to respect and take the route of a film as to take as much of it as you can, you have
Right.
to respect the right, like this year and a half, 2 year period of time in which you have to keep having the film running around. And they always tell you to keep it private and to preserve the status and all this kind of things, right? That
Exactly.
for sure, I sometimes wonder really if it's necessary, but which because those are the rules for now, that's the only reason. Now, Deliver Me will be available soon. In the actually, it's already available in the United States. Is in Canopy.
Okay.
That's the only, let's say, platform where it is available, but it will be available soon in many other places. Yeah.
Awesome. So the last two short films you've done, Talk Me, Deliver Me, and we'll get into talking about those particular films, which, like I said, just really unique ways of using the art form. And so just looking back on those
Thank you.
films, you're doing writing, directing, acting. Occasionally you started your career editing. Is there a part of filmmaking that you think, you know what, I'm not going to touch that? Or do you feel like just learning about all these different crafts makes you a better filmmaker?
Yeah, I was very lucky, and also I worked my way to be able to work on many feature sets when I was back in Spain, and I was really like working for almost 8 years in the
Wow.
industry there. And then had this. I was lucky that I was working with a company that was really friendly to me, and that while I was becoming an editor, the editor in house of that production company, in a way, and that's why I did it, many features. I could request to give me like small roles on set of many departments. I could like have experience on a lot of them. One and yeah, because I loved cinema in all its form, and I really wanted to explore. So I basically that's it. And then what was the initial question? Sorry.
Yeah,
If
is there something that you wouldn't do? Like, you've
yeah,
explored all sorts
uh,
of different forms of it. Is there something you're like, "You know what? I'm not really into that?"
yeah, art department. I would be terrible at it. I would be like I'm so bad at painting, building stuff, even like having some I have an instinct to it maybe, but I'm definitely not, that's not my area. And then hair and makeup also something that I find really difficult to do well, and to it's hard. So those are the two that I can think of. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So, you grew up in Spain. Your biography starts off with saying very unique background, Chinese, Lebanese background. How did you get started in filmmaking? It sounds like your journey started and you've been doing this longer. It wasn't just like you came out and you started creating these bangers. There was a lot of work that went into it.
Thank you for that. I started really I felt like a direct connection with visual storytelling when the first time I grabbed a camera, I was 12. And I think a lot of filmmakers can tell you the same story. I don't think there's anything new there in the sense of I just felt attracted to, okay, this is a frame. I can manipulate it. I can tell a story by putting these images together. And I started really early doing a lot of videos that I would not show anyone, definitely. And then we have so many of those archivals of like hundreds of videos that is, okay, this is how it started and how this is how you explore, right?
Yeah,
Storytelling. And yeah, at the beginning, I think it's really common to see the filmmakers start their careers later than other jobs, I think, because it's
right.
normal. It takes time to find your voice. It takes time to find what really you want to talk about. And in my case, I really needed to go through a really repressive environment where I was surrounded by also being so different in a place where people were not that different in the city I grew up at. And then you are always being reminded how different you are by a lot of ways. I feel like, for example, racism in Europe, and particularly Spain, is completely different to how racism could be here, right? It's more invisible, it's more like little details, even with humor. It's like things that don't look like a menace from the beginning, but it really changes you. It just changes the self confidence you can have, it changes your posture, it makes you feel like smaller. And those things that were negative things, it took me time to really go to a place where I'm like, I'm going to completely shift the
Right.
perspective and use all that to my advantage. And which is when I started to love who I was, right? Or at least try and see a potential there. So that's like the two
I
main elements of how, yeah.
I love that, Joe Card. And then at that point, you decided, you know what, I'm going to go to NYU for graduate MFA. How did that decision come about?
It was easy. It was COVID and I should go somewhere. No, I think I really like since I was in college, I already had the idea that I wanted to come to New York, particularly to New York. I was not, I did go and look at all the film schools around the US that I could be interested in. And I clearly saw that it's just also the environment, New York, like the independent film like scene. It was like clearly to me the place. And then it was a really long term plan. I'd had to save money for working for many years to be like, okay, now I'm not just ready financially speaking, but also I've been waiting all this time to know the craft and many other things while I'm discovering what I want to write about. And when I started to have an idea of, I think, what I want to talk about, is when I was like, now I'm ready to go to somewhere, NYU. And then I applied. I mean, I applied to NYU in Colombia. They selected me in NYU right in the COVID year, and I was like, if I don't go now, in Spain, you can live pretty comfortably. So it's like a thing that drags you to like just settle down. I was like, if I don't leave now, I'm
I
never
might
leaving.
not.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it was a moment for an adventure, and yeah, it couldn't have gone better. Honestly,
And
I really
you're
loved it.
glad you did it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many reasons, right? First of all, if you come from somewhere else, definitely finding a community, people, connections, not in a way of thinking just business wise or industry wise. It's just the connections to a culture, to knowledge, to many things that if you had to come alone and just not have any of that, it would take you 10 years, I think.
Right.
And apart from that, also because I asked myself this question, I was like, do I need to go to film school? And the truth is, I could focus while I had all the other crafts, I could focus on the last one that I needed to train, which was writing. And writing in the end is really related to editing and directing at the same time. They're just three parts of a tripod, and you need the three of them to truly shape a story or at least understand them. But what I loved most was the amount of criticism that you can get every week. You're doing in the end little exercises that are mini shorts every week. And you have 30 people in your room and many teachers just telling you again and again every week what could be wrong, what is not good. And also not just for you, but other people doing it. So you actually participate every week, maybe in three or four of those.
Yeah.
So when you do that for 3 years, you're so ready. You're so ready to accept criticism, to really, you've been receiving a lot of feedback. So at one, it's really like an accelerated process of something that by your own would take a long time to accept, to know what your voice is, to have people help you modulate that. And it's incredible, really. Yeah.
I love that answer. So this question is gonna be hard for you to answer because I think it's like taking an outside perspective. But thinking about just your unique background that you bring to a filmmaking, it's a lived experience. So you didn't just grow up in a privileged background, go to film school. Did you find at NYU and then in your relations with other people around film school that is actually a harder road to live this privileged life and then expect to become like a great filmmaker? Was that sort of who you were surrounded with at NYU? Or was it more just like people like yourself who just came through these really unique backgrounds and then had a voice to tell? So I hope that makes sense because it's just like you think about the privileged background of like Nepo babies or just like the random white guy. And, oh, I went to these top film schools and they don't have that background, and then they hear, "Tell your story." But if you don't have a lived experience, what story do you have to tell? I know I'm asking you to
Yeah.
look outside yourself, but do you think that's the key to being a great filmmaker is that you just have that you bring some sort of unique experience, whatever it is, to the craft?
I think there's not a right answer to that. I think, for example, Lynch used to say that you don't need to have experienced something to tell a story. And for
Mm,
him, it worked well.
right.
There are other people like Sofia Coppola, like she just took advantage of her background and her stories and she made them really well. And she was not hiding where she was coming from. And that's another
Right.
way. I feel like, and then in my case, for example, I think I have a little bit of this conventional story of my parents had nothing. We had to fight to be in a country where, we were by default already not accepted. We go our way through survival. Then things start going a little better. But I have no connections. I have nothing. I come here to this vast country and city and be like, oh my God, I'm the last dot of things of the
Right.
chain. And then I work my ass. I really work really hard to be like, I see around myself so many people that could just take a phone and call whoever,
Yeah, right.
and and the truth is, I feel like I've seen everything. I've seen people that come from privileged backgrounds that are really good at knowing what story what they want to talk about, and they do it well. And
Yeah.
others that are completely from an opposite background and don't have the tools to find what the story is. And I think truly what I've seen so far is okay, people with that come from more privileged backgrounds have more tools, but that doesn't mean they're gonna tell the better stories. And some people that work really hard and are not, they just don't see it. And they
Yeah.
have also the same tools as we have, for example, in the program, right? In NYU. Is I've seen a little bit of everything. So really, in terms of finding your voice, I don't think it's easier sometimes for someone depending on their backgrounds or not. Really, I do believe that. Now, and I definitely think that to tell the stories, you don't need to find your. I think find your voice is something a little bit of a. It's already like a stereotype of like a convention of what you have to
100%.
say. I
Right.
would like to change that for find your perspective because sometimes it's like your voice sometimes is your perspective. It's not, you might want to tell a story about the same story can be told from a thousand corners. And then there's people that are really good at finding a perspective, but they don't have really a voice. Like a good example of that would be, um, do I have a, uh, I don't know. For example, I'm going to put myself because it's easier. You watch Deliver Me and you see a story about someone that clones themselves to marry themselves. And it's okay, that can be a concept that is fresh. But if you think about it, especially I made this in 2021. So there were no all these crazy films with doubles that had happened in the last 2 years. Like it looks like clones are everywhere now. But the truth is my perspective was okay, I have these two people that are the same, and I could tell a story of what your perspective or voice takes you to. Is oh, what are the conflicts with these two people? And my perspective was a mix of many things. I'm going to tune down this. I don't want to talk about any sci-fi element. I want to focus on the human part. I want to also give them a sort of like a more grounded feeling in their interaction, but anything in the art department is grounded. So and I feel like that's my way of finding my perspective. I don't know if it's my voice, but definitely it's my perspective.
Thanks for taking a difficult question, knocking it out of the park, Joecar. That was a fantastic answer, and it's a perfect segue to your film. So, Talk Me and Deliver Me have similar names. Should they be thought of like as like a short story collection? What can you tell people about the naming conventions? And then, if they sit down to watch the films, what do you want them to feel? Do you want it to be watch both films together? Like, how should people think about the films?
Like the titles, they were truly not. It was not intentional. It's just they were the better titles for what the films were. Deliver Me is like this sort of play of words with what the elements of the film. And then Talk Me was the easiest way to have a title that you would read and be like, something's wrong with it, but then it means what it means. So it really, I actually made a third short that I wanted to talk about later, but I can also like just point out that it's called Knock. There's no me in it. It's over. And people were like, no, you have to make a trilogy and add the me too. And I'm like, no, that's not the point, really. But yeah, and then no, so they're not connected really, and they have no connection. And sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Yeah. Do you see them as the shorts? Would you want people to watch them together, or do you want them to be in their own particular universes and take them completely separately?
Well, depends on who's watching. I feel if I wanted to, if someone, I want someone to analyze a little bit my filmmaking, I think that watching them
Yeah.
together would be great and see the evolution and see. Also, I think people tend to ask me, like, so I've been already showing this two films and my work to some places for educational purposes. Like even my teachers, which at the beginning, there were a lot of them against, not against, but they were encouraging me to not do these crazy things that no one would understand on paper because they looked really hard to make. And the truth is, they didn't cost much. Deliver Me only cost, and I can proudly say it, like 16,000. And it looks
Wow.
like, yeah, it was, and people look at the film and they think I spent somewhere between 80 and 100K. And Talk Me,
100%.
yeah, and Talk Me also looks like a big production, but it was barely 20K. And there's a sort of like a creative production behind it to how to get there. And of course, using all the craft and the things that I learned over the years that I worked in films to try to be like, how can I tell this story and can I condense when I don't have tools or I don't have money or what? So I think it's great to watch, I would love them to watch both if it's someone that wants to understand a little bit of what I'm doing and why. But truly, if not, they're independent stories.
How were you able to pull that off? So it looks like they were filmed using film, just like how were you able to pull off so many incredible things? And it also, they both have what it feels like big sets for a variety of different reasons, intimacy type of things. Like, how are you able to pull off making them for so little money?
Obviously, what the first thing I have to say is like when you're in film school and you have many people helping you,
Right.
obviously they're not getting paid. So if we start from there, that's also an easy one to. So
So
when people
first
are
step,
help,
be a good guy, I guess, is the first step.
yeah, basically, and help back. Like I feel like I sustained the record of the most films that I helped in my year. Right? Yeah, you were supposed to do five minimum over the course of 4 months, and I managed to do one per week. So I've done 14 films, right? So
Wow.
you got to go and help, and also
Yeah.
because that's the part of the community and the essence of the program. But also, for Talk Me, I had to go back and ask every single person I knew for the last 20 years favors to be able to make that film happen.
Oh my god.
But there's so many tricks. For example, Deliver Me was what is not a real place. There's only one place that is real, that is the dome. And then I paid a rich person like a little bit for 1 hour of a time in the mansion to walk around it, so that and then paint the house. When you see the white shot, the house is not real. There's only the dome that you see is real. It was like, okay, if we put this
Wow.
pieces together and then you make a bigger house, people will think is the house. So it was things like that. And or for example, all the effects with the double, right? And acting, they were really simple tricks. I was going most of the time to Buster Keaton times. There's one shot that is like this master shot of going from one to the friend and to the other without cutting. And I literally had the two costumes on me. And then just deliver a line, the camera starts panning, I take out this costume, I crawl to the other side, and then I'm ready for the other role. Find all the tricks to make things cheap, so you're not have to invest thousands of dollars on VFX. But yeah, that's just a few. Yeah.
That's insane, Joecar. So I think you alluded to it earlier about how people were looked at the scripts for both these and be like, "Are you crazy?" So I would say that the right? That had to be part these stories are incredible. They're dealing with I think the best way to describe both stories is that you're operating at the intersection of intimacy and love. Like, those are the 2 things that you're bringing together. And so, how did you decide as a filmmaker to go into that particular place?
Yeah. I really like to talk about what I call little prisons of or cages from people, like, that we like to put ourselves in, meaning we I people think of big systems of repression like cults and things like that, and
Right.
is that is true and that is there and that's the easy one. But what I see, what I like to see in my daily basis is like how we create prisons that are universally accepted and they're invisible and we don't talk enough about them. For example, toxic relationships, right? And that's my
Right.
focus, and I'm like, I'm really interested in how every person I know has had one, has currently one, and sometimes not even with someone that, that is a partner. It could be a boss or could be a friend. There's
Yeah.
always this toxicity floating around, and we just are drawn into it. It's like for some reason, there's this thing with a mix of our traumas or something that we just love to go into that space. And we're like attracted to it, like unconsciously. So that's really fascinating to me, right? And then I'm like, okay, so from those spaces, when I was thinking about a toxic relationship, then it took me to this love stories, which is the last two films are about that in a way. But truly, that's the origin. Is I like to think about those, and then there could be many more, but suddenly right now that's my thing, and that's why when you're going into a love story, intimacy most of the time has to be there to feel real, and weirdly in these two cases it happened that I was acting. And by the way, I never acted before. I started acting in the program, so it was not like that was something I never touched. I did a little course once just for fun with a friend that was just starting it, like directing the actors in Spain, and I went for a couple of days and I felt that I had something, but I was like not interested really. I'm one of those cases in which when I was a kid, I think my parents were like, oh, you should be an actor. And I was like, no, I
Yeah.
want to be behind the camera, which normally is the opposite, right?
Right.
But then came to NYU. It was COVID. We could not use actors because the regulations were really tough. So we had to use ourselves for acting in exercises. And I discovered somehow, I don't know, like I started to discover that I had this talent and people were encouraging me, even teachers were encouraging me. I ended up being one of the main roles of a former teacher's feature. Then it all happened like that. But then it's tough when you are doing you feel that the story needs intimacy and you're the actor. So for
Right.
me also that was really important to have like people to be respected and have an intimacy coordinator on both films,
Okay.
definitely. Especially in the second one, the intimacy coordinator, that's why she has one of the main credits of the film because she was a star of the film, really.
Yeah.
To control all that. But so basically, yeah, a lot of respect. Also, they have to know me and they have to know that I'm not a creepy person that is just like trying to get everyone naked. And then there's a reason behind why things align this way. In Talk Me, also, my original plan was to not be the main actor because I never thought of it because I thought it was impossible. The main person needs to kiss many people, needs to interact, needs to be naked with
Right.
other actors. And I was like, that's too violent. But things took me there. Mainly, it was a conversation with Spike Lee, which was a former teacher in NYU, and he told me that precisely this story made sense that I was acting because it's my story in a way.
Yeah.
And then he was not in like saying you should, but he was like, it would make a lot of sense. And now you're gonna make a feature. It's good practice, and also it's just fine. It's just like you're not really touching many people, so just get an intimacy coordinator and do it. You should do it. And I'm like, okay, if you say so, and also you're supporting me, I'm gonna say no. But also made things easier in many ways because when I act, the truth is I can save time because it's one more step that you don't need to. A lot of times we do more takes because we need to talk to the actors and make them really understand if there's something really specific where we want to go. And
Right.
the advantage I've had with Deliver Me and Talk Me, which they were 4-day shoots and 5-day shoots, and Deliver Me was only 7 hours because a day because it was natural light and it was during the winter. Is the only way to move fast is because I already know what I want for my character, and in both situations, the main character was a lot on screen. So that's another creative solution for going faster. Anyway, I think I answered a lot. It was a long answer. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and you're getting at some of the questions that I had there, and I appreciate that. Felt just like graduate school acting, and then to hear that you hadn't acted before just blows my mind. So, these films involve a lot of intimacy, involve a lot of your own nudity, and I feel like actors may shy away from that from the beginning. I've never acted, but I think, like, if I did act, like, it would be steps beyond just acting for me to take off all my clothes in front of the camera. So, did you just rely on that intimacy coordinator? What kinda tips would you give somebody who is thinking about going on that journey? Just find an intimacy coordinator that can help you talk through these concepts. And then, like you said, like you're also asking like classmates and others to be like naked with you. So there had to be like a lot of trust there. Can you just talk a little bit more about that and just like how you got to that point where you felt comfortable doing all of that?
Oh, I never felt comfortable. I can tell you that already. Truly,
Right.
I never like. It's just this is what I say, and I love how every time that I say this, and Spike is around, he says it's like I always say the story required the characters to get naked, and he
Yeah.
would say, "Yeah, but you wrote the story." So you want to get naked. I'm like, no, it's just that the story requires it truly requires it. And
Yeah,
then
right.
so obviously the first one was in the end is like I'm getting in my underwear. And also I didn't have the best shape, but that's what the characters needed. And actually this is something that Todd Solondz, also like former teacher, said when he watched in a big screen for the first time. Um and he said, if you're getting naked, don't wear panties. Just do it.
Go
Just
for it.
do it all
Yeah.
the way. Go for it. And he said something that was really more hurtful than anything that he could say, but it was also fun. He said, it requires so much more. It requires so much more courage to show
Yeah.
that belly than showing your whole thing.
Right.
It was a comment to
True.
say,
Yeah.
you don't look great. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but the point is that the characters don't have to look great. And so obviously there's a sign there that I didn't. It was not a pleasure to me to show off. I'm not showing off. I'm showing everyone how what a trash body I have. So yeah, that's what required it. So I don't know how I did it, why I did it. I think I was in a trance, completely like in this universe of how to finish this shoot. Everyone is looking at me. No one knows what is going on because the three characters don't exist. It's me just jumping around with different languages. Most of the people not understanding what's going on. So it was like a thing that I just had to do. And then the second one with Talk Me was more a conscious decision of okay, and then being like, okay, we need to show it. And also, I want it to be like, if the masculine bodies are going to be shown, we hide. Always nudity is more associated with women showing everything and men don't show what they have to show. And I wanted to
Exactly.
do all those things. My idea was that the actor that is playing my husband would show, but I couldn't find an actor that was really comfortable with it. So in the end, I had to do it myself. So oh my God, when I saw that, I remember showing that because when you're editing, you end up seeing it and the screens are small. But recently in Toronto, when I saw it, it's the biggest screen I've ever seen in my life. I was there with Melanie, the other actor. We were watching it and it's like, this screen is too big. I actually spent the whole screening just looking down. I could not do it. It's like there's 300 people in this room seeing our butts right now. Can we just take that in? Let's take that in for a second. It's like everyone here knows me better than my mom, in a way, physically speaking, right?
Oh,
So he's like,
I
"Don't do that." Well, I was like, why do we do this to ourselves? What is the point?" And so it's a
oh,
little bit of a contradiction. It's like we had to do it, but and then people think that when people don't know me, they really think that I don't know. I like to exhibit, or I like to I'm a narcissistic. It's like no, the things align
right.
this way, and I suffer a lot. I like all the public screenings. I have to leave. I went back when we won the best short at Toronto. We went back to, for example, Spike's class to watch it and show it and talk about how he was involved in the project and everything. I could not do it. I was like, sorry, I'm gonna step out. Yeah, I cannot watch it with all NYU here. I can't. I really can't. And it's tough. It's really tough. I don't know what else to say. It's the only I would just say the only thing I would say is just don't do it. And if you and by the way, I didn't ask any student to like the actors that are uh performing any sort of intimacy are actors or are people that mainly from Spain that I think in Spain is people are more flexible with these things. Otherwise, I would have not have found 80 people to be extras doing what they're doing on screen. So yeah, but it's really important to that they know, and also in that particular case, having Spike's name behind it helped to be like, okay, it went through some sort of filter to for us to understand this is not a random creep is asking us to do this weird and you have to gain their trust and be like, listen, I don't want to kiss you or kiss you because of anything, or it's truly what
Yeah.
the story is. They went for it, they believed in me, and we all got a really great outcome out of this crazy bet. So yeah.
And that's what I mean, masterpiece. That intimacy coordinator helped you with those conversations with the actors? Were they present for a lot of those conversations and they helped guide the dialogue that you had?
Yeah, it's really important. For me, it's essential to have that role in a set because in this case, being the director and actor at the same time, you have some sort of like a it could be it there could be there's like a power dynamic that is not
Yeah.
great. So for me, it was really important to be like before every scene, even before the shoot, as please meet the actors, talk to them, be all the time there and coordinate everything. But also, if there's anything, just you have to stop. You have to take them, so they feel that they have a safe space, right? That we're not asking too much or we're not, otherwise, it could be a big mess. Good thing is, I never had any trouble on set. And I think like people, I don't know if it's because they understood my personality or but I never had anyone doubt that something weird was gonna happen with anything related to intimacy. So I was lucky and I'm grateful for their trust in that sense to go and do this crazy journeys. Yeah.
Do you think more filmmakers don't do that because you have to navigate so many different things with that? Did classmates bring that up to you and other critics when they watch the films like, "Holy shit, you went there," and it's because it's so hard, you don't see a lot of filmmakers doing things like this?
It's weird. I haven't had yet a person that came to me criticizing that part in any way or making me feel I feel like I don't know if it's because the film has and a lot of people tell me that the film has this sort of it transmits some sort of truth with the people that are portraying it that no one came weirdly. I thought that people were going to criticize me or but even like reading like feedback online of the letterbox, no one is saying like weird things about the intimacy, which I super appreciate because that means that it does transmit something pure. I hope, you know? But then, yeah, I haven't had any yeah, no one was pointing out that. I feel like it was clear that the whole system I think also, like, on set, it's the best set I've been in my life. Like, everyone was having so much fun, everyone was believing in the project, and everyone was going through some tough conditions. We had to shoot in August in Spain, it's crazy how hot it was sometimes, and people were having such a great spirit, we had fun. It was truly, like there was a magic to the people involved in it and everyone how much fun we were having, especially in like the scenes in the wedding and all that. That I think it really you can see it through the screen. I don't know how to explain it. So I think like people don't focus on that so far, so far, so
Yeah.
far. Yeah,
Like I said, Joker masterpieces because I feel like you went there in a way different way than most people do in short films, and it brought to some truth that most people aren't used to experiencing in the medium. So you're left like so many times in films like this, you're left thinking, oh, that nudity or that intimacy is just there for voyeur reasons. It's there just to add an element of nudity. It doesn't feel essential to the story that you're telling. And I think it works here because it was essential to the story, and you're dealing with the intersection of intimacy and love, and not just having it be like, oh, yeah, almost titillation, like here for just like laughs or some other reason. Like it's there because it's essential to the story. And I think that's why it works so well.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, I feel really uncomfortable every time you say masterpiece, but I
So
appreciate
this
it.
went,
Yeah.
like we said, this went to some of the top festivals. I know NYU likes to have that. Of course it does, because you want to have graduates take their films to the best festivals. Are you happy with that particular process? Looking back on the films, are you thrilled with that process for your next films? Would you recommend, do you wanna go through that process again the way that it went through for your films? Would you recommend it if people get into the festivals? Like, looking back on that process, what would your advice be for others embarking on a similar road?
Yeah, this was the only point, not even of criticism, but the only point of feedback that I gave back to NYU was there's an insane, and I like to say it because I can say it, because
Right.
I've been in many festivals. But there was so much pressure and attention put on the filmmakers that go to festivals, as that's the only route.
Yeah.
And that is the only outcome possible if you want to have a career. I love to go back to everyone to say, I've been in 3 of the 5, 6 top festivals in the world with
Yep.
my films. Even I won Best Short in one of them, and it doesn't matter. Meaning, we give it more. I love those festivals, I'm so grateful that I went to them. But for the filmmaker's perspective, it I don't I maybe it's not like it used to be before, but what I experience is you go to these festivals, you screen your film, the festival is over. You maybe got 1 or 2 meetings, sometimes not even that, and that's it. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
So, it's not the important thing. Everyone in the industry is looking for, if you actually talk to someone because you got into a festival and you connect, the most important thing is, what's your script? They want to see in the end, most of the industry is a business focus. So it's great, you're here, and this is your card, is your ticket to this VIP reunion we're having for 10 days. Where is your script? And that's the only advantage. Collecting badges of having festival logos is great for your own validation, but it doesn't get you in, truly. So people that don't get in, I love to go and be like, I've been on the other side. And it's like,
Yeah.
truly, it doesn't matter. Like I've seen people that had 0 festivals and actually do much better than people that won Sundance. Or when I won TIFF, no one called me next day. No one. So
Wow.
you can, no one, really, not an email, no nothing, nothing. And that's a good way of saying, because it's not because it's, oh, people can think it was deserved or not to win. I that's something for other people to judge, but is,
Yeah.
I certainly felt that there was so many good films. It was insane. I was already on my way to the airport. I was like, no chance. Until they sent me an email. I was like, what? So it's not the typical film that would win awards, and I always felt that way about my film. But anyway, the thing is that it's really important for people to not get discouraged because they're not getting into this festival. Sometimes it's more important to get into that local festival where people actually care about the shorts, because in big festivals, the shorts are the last thing of the program. They
Yeah.
try to really take care of it as much as possible, but there's so many things going on. Particularly, you go to Cannes. Sometimes even features struggle, and
Right.
there's so many features this year that people are not talking about anymore. And it's Cannes, right? So you have to keep just doing your thing and working and doing your features. And the shorts are your little training, and if you get evaluation, great. But truly, don't use that to judge yourself. That's the hardest thing I've seen around me. It's devastating. I did it for some time until I understood, and I'm lucky that I could understand that, okay, it's fine. And that's what I would tell people, like other filmmakers.
That's such a fascinating answer. So, what do you think the agents, the production companies are looking for if it's not quality? So, I would argue, like I said, I love these films, masterpieces, just like great use of the short form. One TIFF, completely get it. I agree with them. but obviously some agent out there wasn't, like, calling you the next day, so it's disconnected from quality. So what are they looking for, do you think? Just are they looking for something they can sell? Is that sort of, "I can't sell this, it's too artistic, too, like, complicated to put in front of a guy who's gonna watch on a separate screen while he's doing whatever." Are they just looking for what they can sell, do you think?
Yeah. So one little thing I must say about what I said before, when you go to a festival in the US, like in my case, South by Southwest, you do get contacts from agents or managers, right? Like a few emails here and there. TIFF, I think because it's considered international,
Yeah.
there's not a big focus. Also, it's in a weird place in the calendar. And can I feel like even like the European festivals, you need to be proactive reaching out to agents. They're tracking, but they're not like super. I think like when you're more in Sundance or South by or Tribeca in the US, then agents are tracking more. I
Yeah.
found my manager through South by. So I have to say that festivals, especially in the US, are really useful to find people that can represent you, or my lawyer I found also after South by. That is
Interesting.
the only thing that is great. But now I have to say, people have to have this belief, and for my manager has been really useful to me, but also you have to keep doing your work. You have to keep putting is your value. It's not that someone would show up and suddenly open all your doors, like to be like, okay, you know, your career's set. You don't have to do anything else. That's not true. Although it would for in my particular case, I have to give him that he helped me a lot and it made things change. So also maybe that's a reason in which if it's a known manager and people know that they're representing me, maybe they're already not focused on you and they're focused on other people. That could be one explanation of why no one called me after TIFF. I don't know. I'm just saying. But sorry, another dissertation. What was the
No, I
original?
love it. You're exactly on it. So, just the disconnect between quality and what people are concerned about. And then this gets also into casting. You see, so occasionally I get sent a film that's horrible, but it's
Mhm.
advertised as like having executive produced by somebody, or this is starring a guy with 1 million Instagram followers, and it's like horrific filmmaking, but like it got made because somebody was like, this guy can plug it on their Instagram, and they were just doing like math of if one percent like watch just like craziness, but the film itself is horrible. So I'm just trying to understand like how a fantastic film nobody's calling and just like what you think what those people are looking for. And I think it just comes back to like how to sell it.
I have a good answer for this, and I think it's really, at least is my take. And I'm gonna relink it with what I was saying about representation before. I think actually Deliver Me, it went to South by, and then after that, it started going through more like a conventional, more normal route. I think Talk Me hasn't had a normal route at all. Like going to three big festivals is not normal for a short
Yeah.
film. And oh yeah. Anyway, it will have a good US premiere soon, Talk Me, but I cannot talk about it yet. But if you look at the calendar, you
Fair.
can more or less imagine where it's gonna land. But so that's why I said three. But anyway, sorry. So Deliver Me went to South by, and then it started to go to, let's say, more local festivals or like a smaller size festivals after that. And people would say, at least back in 2020, what was it, two, three, is, oh, it's a great festival. It's the second biggest in the US, I guess, if you count Sundance. But I don't like, and people don't like rankings. So I'm not trying to do any ranking here. But what I'm saying is that you would not expect that going to a festival right after it would be like, okay, and people would be like, it's not Cannes, it's not Berlin. And it doesn't matter. I was a new person that never been in a festival. I go with this crazy weird film, and it actually didn't create a buzz in the audience, like audience wise, but it created a lot of buzz industry wise. It
Yeah.
was a perfect example of the people that were looking for quality saw it, or at least that's what I feel like, that they were at people. A lot of people were excited about it, but more the people that I used to watch a lot of content more than normal audiences, not normal average audiences. For average audiences, my film is it requires a little bit of thinking and concentration to get everything that is happening. And but people in the industry that are watching films every day to scout talent or good films, they have I think they got, it was the perfect intersection of like smart content that also require it was like what it requires from someone. I feel like it was a perfect amount for someone that is used to watching content all the time. So I feel like, yeah, it resonated with industry. So I can say as that a good example of that my film Deliver Me was a good example of like when there's quality, people will see it. And
Okay.
it's sometimes it's not about I can actually say that my God, one of the I think what can I say? But best managers you can get in the US. And I would never imagine that he would start representing me with that short, but he did. So it's possible. It's and there's other routes. I always they always talk in NYU about the case of Raven Jackson that never didn't get into the Sundance Lab and didn't get, but it went to I think it was sorry if I'm mistaken, but I think it was the Milwaukee Film Festival or something, and met Barry
Right.
Jenkins having a drink, and then started producing the film, and it went to Sundance afterwards. So it's like there's 1,000 routes, and it really, when there's quality, when there's a, with time and patience, you will get to the right place where you will be able to do what you need to do. So that's my, again, super long and weird answer about,
No,
I think that
it
that really there's no, that the quality is there and people are ready for it. And sorry for using my example. I feel like
it
that means that I'm
it
always saying that my film has a certain quality, but that's what people told me, so I'm just repeating what I got. Yeah.
it's a great example, and this leads me to my next question. I read that you're working on the feature length project of Talk Me. So I'll ask you that question about that this way. Would you say go to these festivals with serious intention about what you're going to do, whether it's I'm going to expand my short to a feature, like I have that script? Don't just apply and just, oh, I'm going to go here to party. Just go to, I have a significant goal of taking it to X festival, whatever it might be.
Yeah. First of all, like the feature that is happening now is Deliver Me, not
Yeah.
Talk Me. And it's weird. Like, for example, that one, I knew that before going to the festival, I wanted to have the script ready, and I had the script ready. I made the feature version of that because Deliver Me is the only case in which the short was made as a showcase of the feature. What you're seeing
Okay.
in Deliver Me is 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 the ending of the film. There's a whole other there's a whole journey
Oh,
to
okay.
see because they're already fighting
Right.
they're already in their first year anniversary, but that's not where the film starts. I want you to see the whole process of how they got to
Ooh.
two people that are the same to hate each other, but at the beginning they were the same person. All this to say, I don't see a scenario in which you could go to have the chance and luck of going to one of these festivals and not be ready with at least one or even better, two projects. I know that a lot of people don't work that way. They like to think, no, I'm focused on one and then the other. I will tell these people, and this is my own opinion, I don't think we're in a time where we can be too precious about what we have. I think we really need to work and offer a bigger variety of, and understand. I think like a lot of independent filmmakers and people that are more auteur driven, which I think I consider myself as that. But you also have to know how to give something in return to the industry that you want to belong to. And sometimes if you want to have things your way, you have to give something back. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, okay, I have this one project and this second one that is could be more something that it's a little cake. It's like we can put good cast, we can it's a story that is a little bit more open. And I have that one ready. It's not the one that, but I have it there. And then I have these other two that are more like my thing. And you have to be ready. If this one is not happening, maybe you have to start by this one. And that's something because again, I don't have enough I'm not privileged enough to be able to just wait around just for years to make my film. So I need to survive, you know? And I could do that editing or going directing commercials. But another way is to have also a film ready to be like, I can be part of this industry and be open to imagine and work on other things that would not be particularly my thing,
Yeah.
but this is a collaboration as well. It's a collaboration industry, and sometimes you have to feed it to get what you need, right? But yeah, yeah. So the answer is yes, please go to these places. Focus on telling the big thing. Really, and this is something that I heard 1,000 times, even if people enjoyed my shorts. No one cares about shorts. That is
Yeah.
the deepest truth. A lot of people care about shorts, but the people that have the power to start projects right now. Most of the time is, "Oh, the short was great," but where is the thing that is true feeder of the industry, which is those at least 80, 90 pages of a story
Yeah.
that you're contributing to the market, and that's the truth. Yeah.
And you have a person you're saying this from the position of winning awards for short films, so it's not like you're just saying this from somebody who made short films and they haven't received a lot of honors. You're saying it from a position of somebody who knows. So, you mentioned 2 projects. You always wanna try to have 2 projects. Is there anything else that you can talk about that you are working on? Obviously, you said the feature project of Deliver Me. Is there anything else you can share in terms of future projects?
Just to be
No,
clear in what
no
I
is an
said,
okay
but I just
Joker,
like
no is an okay answer. I can't ch
no, I do the thing is, I am working at the same time on 4 projects. I'm writing
wow.
4 projects. 2 of them, it's easy because they already I did a lot of work on them, which is Deliver Me and Talk Me, they're gonna be
Yeah.
features. But I'm also having other 2 because this is the thing. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen with film in the next 5 years in the current
Right.
situation. So if I really want to have a conventional filmmaker career until before it's over, maybe I need to and I want to make 4 features that for me are features, is like in the conventional way of belonging to this industry, I maybe have 5 years, and every film takes so long. I've been developing and trying to finance Deliver Me for more than 2 years already. So if you count production, whatever, and in my case, I'm someone that has all this, right, badges and awards with the shorts that also are the ones that are gonna be the film that I'm making, but that doesn't mean you're gonna get the financing and the development done in 6 months. Not even if you go to Sundance Lab right now, you can people struggle finding financing. So you better hurry. That's why I'm writing for projects. And please, by the way, like what you said, I love so much is oh, and you're saying it from the position of someone that won awards with their shorts. I hope people don't listen to me and think, oh, it's so easy to talk from that position. I've been on both positions, and I'm trying to be supportive from this other side of the position to be like, please, really don't idealize an idea that I don't think exists anymore, which is you win sometimes with your short, and the next day you have maybe you have 20 agents coming to you, but you're part of a change. Next day they're meeting another 20 filmmakers.
Right.
So because everyone needs it, everyone's struggling, so things are moving faster, and no one is that important anymore, right? Don't take the only validation possible is you want money, you can survive. People are winning money with your film, people care about your film, and you're actually giving something back to the audience and the industry. And until you don't get there, no badges or validations are important, really. Just keep working. That's what I would say. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's all. Oh, and I have this third short that was originally my thesis before became the thesis because I got the Spike Lee grant. I was like, if I need help to do a film, it's Talk Me because that one needs financial support, and that's the only reason I could make that film. But my the third short that I made it right after Talk Me because I spent like 1K. I shot it with my mom, and I finally stepped outside of the frame. So my mom is the protagonist of the film, and it's the simplest film. It's the I wanted to prove as a counterpoint to Deliver Me that you can make a good film limiting the resources and be creative with what you have. And it's a master shot of a house, 10 minutes, and it's a devastating short, and a lot of people say it's the best thing I've done, and I spent 1K on it and
Wow.
had 4 friends helping me, and that is something super important to do, to be like, you can make a great film with nothing, and right now, I think we have to do that, to start, to be, like, creative with your tools and find and yeah, and I hope, that one, I hope that it will go somewhere next year,
Okay.
and I hope that I can use that as well as part of my I think this is my collection of shorts. I'm gonna stop here and be like, I've done one of each, completely different. Deliver is more crazy. Talk Me is more between crazy and grounded, and the other one is 100% grounded. It's like a
Yeah.
complete realistic story. Now I think I can rest in peace. These are my 3 shorts.
And that one is called Knock, Joker?
Knock.
Alright. We'll
Working
make sure
working
that
title.
yeah.
Working
Okay.
title.
Yeah. We'll know
Knock.
that somebody got to you if we see it come out as Knock Me, we'll be like, "Oh, man, somebody got
No,
to
no, 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 no,
Joker."
no.
So,
Don't tempt
Joker,
me, don't tempt me.
I think somebody your agent will pitch you, "We're selling these as a trilogy, you have to name it, not" like, I could see that happening. You film podcasts, love hyping other people's projects. One of the things that I love about what you shared on this is that you've been so supportive of other people. Instead of 5 projects, you were, like, 14, separate projects, and that really helped other people. I really wanna put that out in the universe is that's how we move forward is by helping each other. So, is there an indie film out there or filmmaker that you wish more people knew about?
I can talk about, again, also a former teacher that also I consider a friend that is a really good filmmaker, and I think not many people know it. I know him yet, but this year actually he started to resonate out there. His name is Lucio Castro, and he made 2 films after this that was premiered at Berlin, and another one called Drunken Noodles that premiered at Acid Can, and it was in the New York Film Festival. Why I like to highlight him, because he is the perfect example of someone he made after this there was this film with this production company 2AM, with cast, with over 1,000,000 or 2,000,000 budget, and that was good, but the one that was more successful is Drunken Noodles, which is the one that he made next with 25K. With he found a way to pay everyone to make a really small film that was so creative and so unique, and there's these 2 films of him in the same year competing out there in the scene, being like, "Drunken Noodles is working better and has 20 times less budget." And his first feature was also a 25K, and he just is so good at telling the story he needs to tell by using the tools he has without necessarily exploiting anyone. And he explained that in class on how he made those films. And I think people should check it out because it's a perfect example of a filmmaker that is adapted to our times and that doesn't need to compromise the storytelling to make films. So that's the filmmaker I would like to highlight. And because I respect him a lot and I admire him so much. But, and as a film, I love these films that happen in one location. And
Yeah.
there's this cult film that I always not many people know, but there's this cult base in the internet, especially around the early 2000s, but it's called Man on Earth. And it's just 6 people talking in a cabin. There's nothing more happening, and it cost, I think, also 20K or something like that back in the day. So and a lot of it's improv and just people talking. But what a crazy concept that is just this person that is this teacher. They're all teachers from different faculties from a university. Like meaning like they're from different backgrounds. Like one is a biologist, one is a whatever. And then the person that is leaving is just making this party in his cabin, right? To just say goodbye to everyone. And then before he leaves, he starts to plant the idea that he's been living forever, you know? And it's this crazy thing of what an engaging conversation. It hooks you for 1 hour and 30, and they haven't moved from the living room. It's just these people that start with thinking it's a joke, but then they use all their knowledge to try to, okay, wait, but how do you survive then all the plagues? And I just did. I started to get all the defenses that I needed to, and then I became really strong. It's okay. And so, what were you doing when in the a- age of Christ, like Jesus? And it's like, yeah, that's a tough one. And then it's, wait, are you suggesting you're Jesus? So it was like that you were Jesus. So it's like there's this whole thing happening. There's this person trying to convince people that he's been living forever and he's actually been in all the important history like event. And it's so fascinating. And it's really well written. And it also costs really nothing, you know? So yeah, those are 2 examples I like to talk about because again, I think like for filmmakers they're good references to see that it's possible to make good films with really little resources.
Joecar Hanna, this has been so fantastic. I feel like this has been a graduate level class on indie filmmaking in terms of how to work as an actor, festivals, how to sell films, just like which are 2 masterpieces. I'm so glad to be able to have this conversation with you. If people want to keep up with you, what's the best way? It looks like you're active on Instagram and your website. You keep people updated in terms of when the films will be available for screenings and releases and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to condense it. I feel like a lot of people post a lot, and I don't wanna be part of to add to the saturation of the world, so I try to condense it a lot and then publish when I need to really publish something, and then disappear
Boom.
behind the storm. Yeah.
So it's only a big deal when you put it on Instagram. So look for that. I'm sure the films will be screening soon, and I'm sure you'll let people know when Knock comes out, and then the feature versions of these films before AI takes over and just wrecks all of us. So I'm hoping that you're able to get those made before somebody's typing in an AI prompt, put in deliver me, but as a feature, and it comes out just like with this random AI. But
Yeah.
it looks like you're
Good
going
thing for yeah, good thing for now is the limitation with intimacy content is not
right.
allowing people to do that yet, so my films for now are AI proof, just for now.
That's so amazing. You really push the medium of indie filmmaking, and I love that. Please keep doing that. And thanks for joining me for the podcast. It's been amazing, and I'm cheering for your continued success.
No, and thank you so much for giving me time and space to talk, really.